You are now watching We Talkin Sports.
Hey, thanks for joining us today. We Talkin Sports. A lot to talk about this Saturday. Very interesting week, of course, in sports. And if you follow us on social media, go ahead and hit that like button for us. And if you're following us or watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for us. Um, yeah, again, a lot to talk about. Probably the most recent being that Cavs Atlanta game. So, DJ,
Yep.
what's your take on that?
So again, I didn't expect them to win, but I wanted. Well, I can't say I expect them to win because I wanted them to win. It looked like they were, but they came up short. I think being in the playoffs would have helped them a lot. But I liked it. This was JB's first playoff experience. I like how he expanded his bench. I like how, not expanded his bench, but shrunk his bench. I like how he came up with a very good game plan in the first quarter. He just wasn't able to make the adjustments at halftime. And I think that he'll learn from this. And those are the things that playoff basketball will teach. And so, they're a work in progress. But, if anybody gives the Cavs anything less than an A+ for the season, for the playoffs, for that game, they're smoking crack because this team was only expected to win 27 games.
Yeah, it was definitely a successful season, and I guess they exceeded expectations. I too was a little disappointed in some of the in-game adjustments that I didn't see get made in a timely fashion. And I don't know. It is what it is. I'm not going to be too hard on JB because again, it's not like it's a playoff series. It's one game. But I will say this: it did not do anything to convince me that he's the coach that we can make a deep playoff run with.
You said he's not a coach that can make a deep playoff run?
I said he didn't do anything to convince me that he's a coach that we can make a deep playoff run with.
Okay. Well, again, to me, I think I definitely do think that. I do think that he may not be a coach to make a deep playoff run, but only because of the fact that he's never done it before. Eventually he will be that coach. It just seems like that in the NBA, you get a coach that develops a young team, and then you get a coach that can win. And so, I think that's kind of where we are. I remember,
and that may be true. That may be true.
I remember at the beginning of the season when the Cavs were playing good, and I said, yeah, I expect them to be, I don't know who is better between them and Charlotte. They're about right where Charlotte is. They both young. They both looking to make that next step. And that's where they finished. They finished exactly the same place that Charlotte did. You could say they finished higher than Charlotte, but, at the end of the day, both Charlotte and the Cavs were the teams that were right on the outside. I remember I also said that the Cavs are going to end up in a playoff game and people are going to criticize JB for something like, and I specifically said, not playing Jetty Osmond. And, my point that I was making at that particular time is you can't put expectations on him. You can't criticize his, hey, I'm not going to go with Jetty or Stevenson or Stevens. You can't criticize that because this is really his first bite of the swing of this is his first swing with his team. And so, I wasn't at practice all week, and I don't know what he thought. Hey, something, this matchup is a bad matchup for Jetty, so I'm just going. This is my rotation. But again, I look at it as this is his first bite of the apple, and I was very, very impressed with the team that they played. With the way they played.
I'm not going to put too much I'm not gonna put too much on it, and let me be clear about this. I'm not saying we lost the game because of JB, but if that Kevin Herter dude can get minutes, Jetty should be able to get minutes because they're very similar in what they bring to the table. So, and as far as his rotation, I mean, he only went 7 deep, didn't he? The only guys off the bench that played was Kevin Love and Rondo. So he went to a 7-man rotation. And Kevin Love only played 10 minutes. So, again, and just, again, to be clear, I'm not saying we lost it because of JB. But it's like, to me, I don't give coaches necessarily a mulligan or you got to have multiple years in the playoffs to learn because
really,
because what you're doing, what your responsibility for is strategy, and you should have that already before you get the job. If this happens, then I do this. In this situation, I do that. You should know that X's and O's type stuff before you get the job.
Yeah, so you're saying that Popovich is not a better coach than others? Somebody should be able to go in the playoffs and beat Popovich, even though he's done it so many times?
Well, it depends on what your situation is. Again, if you've been coaching for 20 years, you've been coaching for 20 years. You know what I'm saying? You should have seen those situations, whether you were the assistant coach or the head coach. You was there, right? So you saw the situation. So to say that this is my first time as the head coach, I just don't buy that. I mean, and I'm gonna give you an example. Tyronn Lue's first time as a head coach, he won an NBA championship.
Yeah, that's not a good example, though.
It's a true example, ain't it? It's a fact, right?
No.
It's not a fact. It's not a
fact.
I
mean, no, it's not. Well, David Blatt's first time he took his team to the finals. Are we saying that David Blatt is a good coach, or are we saying that he played with LeBron? He had LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? You can't really say
well,
that.
I mean, David Blatt is a championship coach. He won championships, not in the NBA, but I mean, and again, we talking about strategy and X's and O's. And the point I'm trying to make is you shouldn't have to go through things like you should have that in your back pocket already when you get the job, in my opinion. Because it's like we're developing players. We got to develop a coach too. We'll never win.
No, that's not. That's the reason why the Cavs lost is because Trae Young is a better player than Darius Garland, and we didn't have anybody else. We didn't have Evan Mobley to be the second dude. Now, but we got Evan Mobley. And when Evan Mobley becomes the first dude, then they're going to make noise. But if your best player, like for example, Atlanta ain't going nowhere because Trae Young is their best player. He's good. He's better than what we have, and so therefore they beat us. But they're probably going to get beat the next round because they really don't have enough. They not Philly or they not Giannis in them. And Giannis is basically a solo act with a lot of decent others, but they have that experience. So again, this was a great situation for the Cavs. I would have much rather them go through a 7-game series so they can understand how you make these adjustments. Like say for example, they came out with a very good game plan in the first half, obviously because they were winning in the first half. And what did they score? 36 points, and they hit like 7 of 9 threes or something ridiculous. So that was JB. That was JB coming up with a great game plan. But then when they went in the locker room, Nate McMillan has been there. He's been there as a player. He's been there as a coach. He's been with this team for a while. And so, he made the proper adjustments to beat the Cavs. And second half, Trae Young scored 30 points. The rest is history. Now, the good thing about it is JB got to let that sit in his stomach all summer. I mean, all summer. And I trust him enough to believe he's been around basketball to believe that he is going to learn from this. And I have no doubt that they'll be back in the playoffs next year. And if Evan Mobley is the dude, they may even make a run. But I think that when I look at the Cavs, I think that they have everything they need but experience, and you only get experience but with time. And once they get that experience, they gonna be a problem. I love Laurie Marketing. I love Jared Allen. And all season you've been telling me about this 3-headed monster, these 3 7-footers. Well, that made a big ass difference in the first quarter. The first half. So, they got something to work with. They got something to work with.
Yeah. And again, I'm not gonna dwell on it as far as some of the adjustments or whatnot. But what else do you think the Cavs? What do you think they're missing?
Jared, Evan Mobley being a alpha. That's it. They got great pieces. I love Okoro, and Okoro came off the bench too because Okoro didn't start. So I love Okoro. I love the role Kevin Love plays. I love, him. Mark Jackson said last night, when Evan Mobley was hitting those threes, they said they got another big dude in Kevin Mobley Kevin Love that comes off the bench too. So, I don't think they need nothing.
Speaking of that,
I just think they just need experience and Evan Mobley to realize that he is an alpha. That's it.
Mark Jackson made a couple of comments during that broadcast yesterday that just really told me I don't follow the Cavs. And again, it is what it is, but it's just, to me, when you're...
You said his comments said what?
His comments to me said I don't follow the Cavs. He just made incorrect statements basically about their season, about where they're at. I'm giving an example. He said, so yeah, they got Colin Sexton hurt, so they have 2 great point guards. When if anyone who follows the Cavs knows that Colin Sexton plays the 2 and not the 1.
I think the biggest thing out of that is no one follows the Cavs, and so no one does know.
Well, okay, but if you get a
they're
job,
not worth.
If you get a job to do their game, then do your homework. It ain't that hard to do. I'm sure you get paid. I'm sure you get paid a nice salary for it. So do your homework. That's the point I'm just trying to make is when you call a game, know what you're talking about, because I tell you what, I bet you their home team, the home fans do. So it's just, I don't know. I don't like to hear that. It's unprofessional.
I bet you he know about Memphis. I bet you he know about Philly. I bet he know about Milwaukee. I bet he know about the Suns and the Golden State Warriors.
None of that helps when you're doing a Cavs game. None of that helps when you're doing a Cavs game. Be prepared for the job that's in front of you. That's my point.
Did you know Atlanta? And was the Atlanta fans?
Was Atlanta playing Atlanta? Was Atlanta playing Atlanta, or was Atlanta playing Cleveland?
What I'm saying is, okay, so I've been on Facebook this morning, and I hate Mark Jackson, and it's like, okay, so if I'm a commentator, I got to call both sides of the game, and so there are sometimes I'm going to say negative things, especially when you're losing, about your team, and you shouldn't get upset. If you get upset,
that's not what
your
I said.
team should be better.
That's not what I said. It's not about saying negative things. It's about saying inaccurate things. So when you make false statements and it just shows that you're not familiar with the team, that means you're not prepared. You putting words in my mouth. I said he's not prepared.
Bro, did he know the Cavs when they was going to the finals 4 years in a row? When he was not announcing those games in the finals, he knew about.
What difference do that make?
Because
he was doing a game yesterday. He was doing a game yesterday. If you don't know, it's your job to find out. Be prepared.
No,
it's your job. You're not getting called. You didn't get paid to do a job to do the Cavs from 4 years ago. You didn't get paid to do the Miracle and Richfield Cavs. You got paid to do the Cavaliers yesterday.
Okay, let me put it this way. If Darius Garland ends up getting hurt like Colin Sexton did last year, and it was the playoffs, would he make a mistake about Darius Garland? No, because the Cavs are relevant. So now he knows about it. And so if Colin Sexton comes and balls, and he'll be like, oh, yeah, he's a 2-guard. But right now, Colin Sexton or the Cleveland Cavaliers are not worthy of having a national.
Then turn that check down. Turn that check down and say, I can't do this job because I'm not going to be prepared because they're not worthy. Turn that check down and let somebody who will be prepared do that job.
I hear you. I hear you. Sour grapes. They hate us in Cleveland, or they don't pay attention to us in Cleveland. I hear you.
It ain't about that, dog. This is about do a good job when you do a job. Be prepared. Know what you're talking about. It's not that hard. 14th pick in
I
the
would be
draft.
more concerned about the job they did on Colin Sexton than the job that the announcer did calling the game. I guess is
The
where I'm
job
at.
they did on Colin Sexton.
I mean, the job they did on Trey Young. I would be more. That would be more my issue than the job that the announcer did. But that's just me. I know. That's just me.
Two different
But
things, dog. Two totally different things. But 14th pick in the draft. That's what the Cavs going. Well, no, actually, we don't know what they're gonna have yet.
right.
We don't know what they're gonna have yet. But chances are it's gonna be at the bottom half.
But I don't think I don't even think the draft is even whoever they draft. I mean, are we expecting him to play minutes over who? I mean, I don't think we want a 19-year-old taking Lamar Stevens minutes or
No, I'm thinking
Isaac
they use
Crowell.
that. I'm thinking they use that draft pick in as an asset and trade it. That's what I'm thinking. You trade that.
Yeah, I look at the Cavs.
I can think of a team, dog. I know this team. They got a bunch of old dudes that would love a young 19-year-old.
Right. I look at the Cavs as what Atlanta was 2 seasons ago. And so next season will be what the Atlanta was last year, where they made noise in the playoffs, and that's good. That's where you want to be. You know, with the NBA, the problem with the NBA is you never know what your roster looks like next year. So, you know, we have a very, very good nucleus, and we hope to bring them back. I think that LeVert is more of a 3. I think that what happened yesterday is he was supposed to be the 2, and he really isn't that. He's a good player. I'm not taking nothing away from him, but he's not DeMar DeRozan. And if he would have been DeMar DeRozan with that mid range, he would have kept him in the game. He really isn't. And so, and nothing away from him. You know, I definitely think that he is part of a great championship roster if you can have him as your 3.
I don't know who that was in that Karis LeVert jersey. Because to be honest with you, from the time we acquired him, he's not the player that I've watched over the past 4 to 5 years. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but he never looked settled offensively since he got here. Because on paper, and the guy that I had seen play previous years seemed like he would be the perfect fit at the 2 or 3, just as a scorer, an offensive punch. And it's just like his J was never falling since he's been here, and he'll get to the rim and it not finish. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I don't know if he just wasn't settled. I don't know if he having problems with his lady. I don't know.
Wow.
But that was not the guy that I thought we traded for.
Yeah, I think he is in his best days. Is he C.J. McCollum? No, and so I don't think I'm going to expect what C.J. does. And C.J. is a 3. He's a third option. He's not really a second option. He's really a third option, especially in a small lineup. You take Karis LeVert, you take Evan Mobley, and make him a dude that averaged 25 a game. They got the ball in his hand 40 to 60% of the time, and just basically letting the offense run through him, and getting those types of matchups where you switch him on a small, or you end up switching him on a big because he's so fast to get past him. And then you work your offense around that. You work your offense around a 7-foot dude that can get to the basket, that can shoot, that can dribble, that can create for other players. And then you got a Darius Garland who can score on his own with the ball in his hand. You want to get him in a situation where you got him matched up on, let's say, Steph Curry, like we should try to get Kyrie matched up on Steph Curry. You get to play those types of games when you got that dude. You don't get to play those types of games when your best player is Darius Garland, just because of the fact that all you got to do is stay in front of him, which I'm not saying is easy. The dude can score, but you can't have that dude as your only dude. You got to have another guy. And again, they got it. I think that if you JB can be criticized next year if they don't do what they did this year. But I think right now, you're playing with house money. So everything you did is a win. You showed tremendous improvement from one season to another. And everybody you rely on is young. Everybody that you rely on is locked up. And you still got a draft pick. You still got stuff that you can do. So, I don't know. I like where they are. I would have never guessed 1 year ago today that the Cavaliers would be where they are. And if I could have saw this a year ago, there's nothing I would be disappointed about.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely not disappointed in them either. And again, hopefully next year we can take that next step.
Yeah.
So, speaking of next steps, what's Baker's next step? Did you see clips of that interview that he did on that podcast?
So I did, and I am Mr. Anti-media. So because I'm Mr. Anti-media, I look at what Baker is doing right now is this is his cleanup image tour. Now, I hope it's done by some people that know what they're doing. But to me, this is his, every time, like, let's say LeBron is about to play Kevin Durant, 3 weeks before that, it's some rumor, hey, LeBron said that Kevin Durant's baby mama stank. Some shit like that. Next thing you know, the whole TV is talking about, oh, Kevin Durant and LeBron, Kevin Durant and LeBron. Christmas Day, Kevin Durant versus LeBron. So that's kind of what they do. And I think that this whole Baker's been quiet, Baker needs to stay off social media, and then all of a sudden he makes his appearance. I think it's just because he's about to make his next move. Because at the end of the day, it ain't like we talking about Mason Rudolph. It ain't like we talking about, and I know we just signed Joshua Dobbs, but I'm using his name just because of the fact that Baker Mayfield was not Joshua Dobbs. So if Joshua Dobbs can get a job as a third QB, then obviously somebody wants Baker as at least a second in the situation where I guess they're saying he might back up Brady, which would be amazing for his career.
Well, I think
so.
I don't think it's that's as much the issue is like he can't just get on an NFL roster. It's just I don't think teams want him. Like he can be a backup for sure. For sure he can be somebody's backup. But I don't think anybody wants to pay him $18 million to be a backup. And then it's like on top of that, because to me, Baker should keep his mouth shut. Like, because probably more so than this is about his play on the field is equally about his locker room presence. And, is that in that quarterback position, you're like a de facto leader, and you looking at it like, do I want this guy leading my locker room? He threw some of his teammates under the bus, again, talking about not everybody there loved football and wanted to play. And it's like he just talked too much. And then let me say this too. It's like, even if you are talking or your agent's working with Seattle on a possible trade or something, why would you go out and put that out there like that? You know what I'm saying? It's like organizations don't like that. Organizations don't like that.
I do think that was a mistake. I think that was kind of off the cuff, kind of the same as what he did with Indianapolis. I think it was just kind of off the cuff. And I'm not the Baker defender, but I think I do want to say that I think that the reason why he hasn't moved is because of the Browns, and just because it makes more sense for the Browns to hold on. Right now, his value is probably very low, but his value is going to end up being very high in two different situations. His value is going to be the highest during the NFL draft, and his value is going to be the highest when a team loses a quarterback for the season. And so, for those two reasons, if I'm the Browns, I don't know if I want to. I'm not that quick to just give him up. I'm not too quick to just say, "Yeah, we about to move on from Baker," because I'm really holding something good. Because first off, the dude is the first overall draft pick. The dude did take his team to the playoffs. The dude has played very well. He just played through an injury last year. Whether he runs his mouth a lot, Aaron Rodgers runs his mouth a lot. Not that Baker is on that level, but I'm saying I don't know if that is keeping a team away from him. I did hear who was the wide receiver that said he didn't want him on his team.
Robbie Anderson with the Panthers.
Robbie Anderson, who's the Jets. Where does he play now?
The Panthers. Carolina.
You said the Panthers. Okay, right. So I did hear that, but don't they got Carson Wentz? So maybe that's I'm backing up Carson.
They don't have Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is.
They got Sam Darnold.
They do have Sam Darnold, and they have Sam Darnold actually. Yep, that is who they have.
And Teddy Bridgewater.
Did they sign Teddy? I'm not sure, but they're probably going to draft somebody.
Okay, what I'm saying, but I don't think Baker is not going to have a job. I just think that if the Browns, I look at it from the Browns standpoint of, we don't have a first round pick in the next 3 years. We could probably get a first round pick.
No. They're not getting a first round pick for Baker.
So you're telling me that let's say a team is going to the playoffs, I'm not going to even say a team, going to the playoffs. Sit Dallas going to the playoffs. They bought, they rolling, they 9-1, and Dak gets hurt. You telling me Baker ain't worth a first round pick at that point? Baker.
No,
Dak,
I couldn't see that happening.
I've seen it happen too many times,
when you say,
bro.
like, in the middle of a season, if a team is...
I've seen it too many times.
In the middle of the season, if a team was to lose their starting quarterback, I believe they would go with their backup quarterback, then bring Baker Mayfield in as their starter, or bring a starter in off the street. That's what I believe.
You said they would bring a starter off the street?
No, I said they would... Well, Baker would be the starter off the streets. I said they're more likely to go with their backup quarterback, the guy that they have at number 2, than to bring in a starter off the streets.
Okay. I don't. And to me, we just got to see. Like, to me, if you're telling me that the reason why Baker Mayfield is not getting the job is because nobody wants him, but dudes like Joshua Dobbs and
different situation, though. Different situation. Baker could get a
job.
It's not. Yes, it is. Baker could get a job as a backup, but not as a,
everybody knows
that
the Browns are going to have to eat some of that sauce.
Not as a backup making $18 million a year. Joshua Dobbs is not making $18 million a year. Joshua Dobbs is making like $3 million.
You think the team that trade for Baker is going to eat his whole salary?
I think that's what the Browns expect. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's why the Browns haven't traded him. If it was just about trading him and picking up the majority of his salary so some team could bring him in to compete or to be their backup and they only paying him a few $1 million, he would be gone by now. But the Browns don't want to pick up the majority of his salary, and they do want some decent compensation for him, which is why they're waiting.
Right. So you just went all the way around and say what I just said. Yeah, they are waiting. They're waiting. They're waiting.
It's different. It's different reasons, though, dog. It's different reasons.
Your reason is because Baker is a bum or he talks too much.
Because Baker is not going to be a starter next year, and nobody wants to pay a backup quarterback $18 million because he's most likely not going to be a starter next year.
1 year ago from today, the points that you are arguing against Baker are the points that you are arguing for Baker. His mouth, his moxie, his fighting the media. Those are the things that endeared us to him. Now we got a nice shiny new toy to Baker. Okay. So now we got a shiny new toy, and now we hate all Baker needs to shut up, this, that, and the third. Well, yeah, you saying that because you got a shiny new toy. But last year, Baker, you couldn't get enough of Baker. You couldn't get enough of the commercials. You couldn't get enough of all this now. And so, again, to me, it's just slow news cycle. You know what I'm saying? The NBA playoffs will start now, so you're going to stop hearing all this baby mama drama type stuff from the NFL, and they're going to actually concentrate on what happens in the team organized activities. And it's going to be so much about somebody's baby mama or what type of Gucci they wear or, all of that type of stuff. That's
the only reason we're talking about Baker now is because Baker just jumped on that. Baker just did that interview. I mean, this is, and again, which is back to my point, is he shoot himself in the foot because he brought this on himself. He wouldn't be catching this this backlash if he would just sit back, be quiet, wait till he has a new job. That's all you got to do.
But Baker Mayfield has been receiving criticism since the Odell Beckham video. Every day. Every day. There has not been a day that Baker Mayfield has not been a topic of conversation.
We didn't even talk about him last week. We didn't talk about him at all last week. We were trying to move on. And I think a lot of people were trying to move on. And like I said, if he would keep himself out of the media.
I guarantee you, if we looked at the tape and we talked about Deshaun Watson, we definitely talked about Baker Mayfield.
We did not. We did not.
Okay.
I intentionally did not. And we did not. There was nothing to talk about. Absolutely nothing. But I'm going to tell you what is something to talk about.
The guards, baby.
No. Before even that. See, with all of this Baker Mayfield drama and this Deshaun Watson drama,
y'all don't want to talk about
the Browns made a sneaky good move that I expect is going to pay huge dividends this year.
Don't tell me they hired a coach who used to be in the third grade with a running back that we're looking at from another team that we're about to get.
No.
And they were in the third grade together.
No. They signed Jakeem Grant as a free agent.
Okay. So when you talked about that, I'm going to tell you what went through my mind when you talked about it. So I can YouTube anybody and get excited, and I know that the dude is blazing fast, and I know the dude got moved. I just want to see, because I tell you what I feel. I feel like when we had Eric Metcalf as the punt returner, it was so – it used to be on – when we had Eric Metcalf as the punt returner and the Browns would have a team on their 30 or behind and it was third down, I used to be like, please let them stop them and have to punt this ball to Eric Metcalf. So if we can get a dude like that, I'm all in. Is that what you're telling me this Jakeem Grant dude is?
Jakeem Grant, yeah, but I'm going to tell you this, though. He's actually a good receiver, too. He's more than just a punt returner. So, okay. And again, this move got lost because of all of the quarterback stuff. Yeah. But, this dude.
Yeah, because the dude's really not that good.
This dude went to Texas Tech. He's the all-time leading receiver.
Okay.
Played with Patrick Mahomes. But the issue is he's a tad under 5'6". He like 5'5" and 3/4. But he's fast as shit. So the dude, his official 40 time is like a 4.31. His unofficial is like a 4.11. This dude is like and I'm gonna give Trey credit for this because I'm stealing this line from him. He a poor man's cheetah.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna tell you this.
If you watch his highlights, and if you watch whether it's a punt return or whether he runs out of the backfield sometimes, like on reverses or end arounds, and if he just catch the ball in open space, he's something to deal with. He's something to deal with. And again, you don't have to trust me or believe me. Look at YouTube. Look at his highlights where he literally will just outrun the pursuit. A dude will have the angle on him where he should catch him, and he just outruns him. So you put this dude on the field with Nick Chubb, a good offensive line, with Amari Cooper, Deshaun Watson, it's going to be trouble. It's going to be trouble. And it's like we keep looking for our other receiver to play outside with Amari Cooper. And I'm not saying that we don't need to sign someone else, but I think this was a sneaky signing that is going to pay huge dividends, not only on special teams, but just in our offense, period. Because this guy's electric. He's electric.
Well, here's what I do. I'm going to wait until he actually becomes cold. But if he does, I will give you the credit. I'll be like, damn, dog, I remember one day you was talking about this Talkin, whatever his name is. But I'm going to take YouTube videos ain't never really translated to the pros. So I'm just going to wait.
No, this is the pro stuff. Dog, I'm not saying look at his college highlights. He's been in the pros. In the pros for 5 years. I'm saying.
Dog, let me tell you. At the end of last season, I didn't say, damn, man, teams need to get that Jacquez Grant. I ain't never heard of the dude until the Browns got him. Maybe you did. Maybe you remember him in college. Maybe you watched some of his high school games. But I've never heard of the dude until now. So I'm not going to just all of a sudden make this dude Jerry Rice or Cheetah or nobody. But if he is an electric kickoff returner in the mode of Eric Metcalf, then I'll be excited. But I think I want to let him take one first before I actually hype him up. But that's just me. You got to kind of be it before I give it to you. So, but I hear you. Maybe that's the sneaky move. Now, let me ask you this. Why is he that more than Schwartz? Because Schwartz was at this time.
Schwartz.
This time last
I'm gonna tell you. No, I did not tell you anything about. I didn't tell you anything about Schwartz. But I'm gonna tell you what the difference is between Schwartz and him. Schwartz is a track guy playing football. This is a football guy that could run track. He's got world class speed, but he's really a football player. I mean, come on, dog. I just told you he's Texas Tech all-time leading receiver. And he James under 5'6", dog. That don't like when you look at off a school like Texas Tech that runs that wide open offense, throw the ball all over the place. And I tell you that this guy's their all-time leading receiver. That don't make you think something?
James Washington, who just got released by Pittsburgh and signed by Dallas, and is supposed to be who Dallas replaces Amari Cooper with, is Oklahoma State's all-time leading receiver. And Mason Rudolph was his quarterback. I don't know who dude. You say Patrick Mahomes was dude quarterback. But to me, James Washington ain't did shit in the pros. So you ain't hearing me saying, oh, man, we got James Washington and Dallas.
You know what else I like about this guy? What else I like about this guy is he has a hell of a chip on his shoulder, dog. He has a hell of a chip on his shoulder. James Washington
went to one team in Pittsburgh and didn't do nothing. So what did Jakeem Grant, whatever do? What did he do? He went to the Dolphins, right?
He got drafted in the 6th round by the Dolphins, got traded to Chicago. He's been to the Pro Bowl, is a punt returner. And the thing I like about him, one of the things I like about him is he really has a chip on his shoulder. And he has a chip on his shoulder because he know he keep getting played because he's short. And he tell people all the time. He be like, yeah, because he didn't even get invited to the scouting combine. He didn't get invited to the scouting combine. I mean, he just, this dude's something, dog. This dude is something. This is his quote. This is his quote when he tell GMs, you want a receiver that's tall or you want a receiver that make plays?
So he's saying that is good, but Baker's saying something is bad. It's like the same. I mean, I can't really judge his football skills until I actually see him on the Browns.
That's a totally different situation from Baker, dog. It's to have a chip. Just to say you have a chip, it's like what's your chip about? That's what I'm saying. That's totally different.
I think my point is that if we all of a sudden hate Hakeem Grant because he says, hey, there's no soul food restaurants in Cleveland, then we gonna be like, damn, this nigga been talking since he first came to the league. I remember when he talked about You know what I'm saying? It's like let your story be the fact that you took the Browns to the playoffs for the first time in 3 years. Then I'm gonna be your number one fan club, but I'm not trying to beat people into guessing is one of our very quiet free agents is going to be there. But again, dog,
well, when you out buying his jersey, then you know
right,
what I'm saying?
Then I'm gonna be like, Sean, you was right. Because dog, I give you all the credit in the world. You were saying Deshaun Watson before anybody national, anybody local. Like we ain't even all that as far as that. But you were the first person to say, hey, and we were still loving Baker at this particular time. You was like, bro, this can happen. And it happened. So I got to give you mad credit for it. But, bro, we talking about a garbage receiver so far at this point. Now, he can end up having 1,500 yards this year for the Browns. But right now, he's a garbage receiver. And we got a baseball team that plays on the corner of 9th and Carnegie, bro, that the whole world is talking about.
Really? Okay. So what's the deal? What's the deal?
So here's my thing about the Indians. And again, I don't expect the Indians to be good. I don't, because they are very, very young. What the Indians are doing is they've made all these trades, all these things where people said, hey, I hate you because you all got rid of Lindor or y'all got rid of this person. But they got a lot of dudes back from that. And the thing about baseball is you don't make a trade 9 times out of 10 and plug and play. You make a trade and you get top prospects from other teams' farm systems.
So
and
who
we
do
have
get
a
this
very
Quan
good
dude from?
I think we drafted Quan.
Okay.
I think we drafted Quan. But, it's a lot of dudes who now are getting their opportunity from some of these trades. And, I like them. So let me tell you what makes Quan good. What makes him good is he is a very disciplined hitter. He goes up to the plate and he sees a lot of pitches because he don't swing at bad pitches. And that's something that rookies usually do. But that's something like, let's say, I know you heard of Wade Boggs, or I know you heard of Tony Gwynn. And in no way am I saying that this dude is them two players, because them two players are all-time great. But what made them good is they had very good eye discipline. So there was a game on Thursday. No, it was game 3. So they lost the first 2 games against the Royals, and they played a 4-game series. So in game 3, it might have been game 4. So the Indians it was game 4. The Indians were winning. They had just blew out the Royals like 13-3. And the first 2 games, they only scored 1 run. So, you kind of was thinking like, damn, we got all these young dudes, they can't hit. So then the game 3 happened, and they just was hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting. So then game 4, and they playing. So I don't know how much you know about Jose Ramirez, but I know that you know that I've been saying that Jose Ramirez is cold for probably like about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So the Indians was winning like 6-2, and then Kansas City came back and scored 2 runs to make it 6-6, and it was 2 outs, bases loaded, and you got Quan up. Now, as a baseball fan, you will probably understand this. If you're not really a baseball fan, you might not really get it. But you have the bases loaded. It's 2 outs. Your best hitter is on deck, and now you got a rookie on base. Rookie at the plate. So you like, damn, shit, you don't want that situation. Because you thinking that a rookie is going to get overpowered by this pitcher, and y'all going to get out the inning, and Jose is not going to get an opportunity to bat. So Quan goes 0-2, 2 balls, no strikes, like he always do, checking the pitcher. And I think it was 2-1, 2 balls, 1 strike, because the pitcher got a pitch over him. So 2 balls, no strike. And then they threw Quan a slider. A slider is a pitch that looks like a strike, and at the last minute, it just drops like a strike ball. And so he looked bad on this. And this was his first swing and miss of the year. This game 4, and this is his first time he's ever swung at a ball and didn't make contact. So he looked real bad. So right now, he worked the count to 3-2, and they were playing him off the line, which means that the outfielder was a long way from. He's a left-handed hitter, so the right field line would mean that he pulled the ball. I don't know if you understand what I mean. And he slapped that ball. He took a 3-2 pitch and slapped it right where no one was in a 6-6 game where the other team had just came back and took the lead. It was 2 outs. Jose Ramirez is on deck, so you know they pitching him well. And he slapped that ball right down the right field line and got a base clearing triple. At that point, I said, this dude can hit. So he is good. So everybody remembers Kenny Lofton. Mm-hmm. So we got a leadoff hitter. Kenny Lofton wore number 7. He wore number 7. He played center field, and he was our leadoff hitter. So we got a dude that wore number 7. That's our center field. That's our leadoff hitter. I ain't going to say he's better than Kenny Lofton because Kenny Lofton is one of my all-time favorite players, but this dude is very good. He's our leadoff hitter. You got Quan batting second.
What's his name?
Huh?
What's his name?
His name is Miles Straw. We got him from Houston. He was one of the dudes that we made a trade, and they gave up one of their prospects. It was Miles Straw.
So wait a minute.
So we got him.
What about?
Huh?
So who do we get from the Lindor trade that's out here?
Our best player from him is Ahmad Rosario. He is our shortstop. So when we traded for Lindor, the Mets gave us 2 shortstops. The shortstop they gave us is their top shortstop was Andres Gomez, and Ahmad Rosario was their top prospect that had made the big league team. So the one dude was still really playing minor league baseball. Ahmad Rosario had already made the jump to the big league team. So he was the starting shortstop when they traded Lindor. So now he's our starting shortstop, and he is one of our better players.
Okay.
The Gomez dude, he's been playing good so far, but I don't like him. I'm not a fan. I like Ahmad Rosario a lot better. We have a dude, Oscar Mercado. Oscar Mercado came up 2 years ago and was playing phenomenal. Last year he was garbage. This year he leads the majors in doubles. It's only 6 games, so obviously small sample size, 7 games, small sample size. But he leads the majors in doubles. He leads the majors in extra base hits. So they have a very good manager. They have good pitchers. I would want them to get a veteran pitcher, but hey, Terry Francona makes miracles happen. So look out for the Guardians. Look out for them. They are a real good, feel-good story. And
interesting. Okay.
They got a good lineup, and I will always say that Terry Francona is the best manager in baseball.
So all that payroll talk aside, you think they're gonna put in work this year?
So I think the payroll is going to be the reason why they don't put in work. I think that so their power hitter, their number 4 hitter is Franmil Reyes. And he just really, he's a big dude. He looks the part, but you gotta do more than look the part. They got another dude that is the same dude, big dude. He looks the part. He black dude, young black dude from America, and that's rare in baseball. Black dude from America. That's what I'm saying. But big dude, he wearing shirt unbuttoned, showing his chest like he all this, that, and the third. But again, at the end of the day, looks don't score runs, and so
right.
Both of those 2 dudes have not scored runs. They haven't given up on Franmil Reyes yet. I think they're about to give up on Bobby Bradley.
Didn't Reyes have a streak last year where he was hitting the ball real well?
Yep. And that's what you hope. Because if he so he hits in front of Jose Ramirez. So he hits behind Jose Ramirez. So the dudes that hit in front of and behind your best player usually gets good pitches. The dude in front of him gets good pitches because you want to get that dude out. You don't want to throw him balls and put him on base because you got Jose coming up. So you want to really pitch good to him. So you get good pitches when you hit in front of a dude like Jose Ramirez. So that usually makes your batting average go better. When you hit behind a dude like Jose Ramirez, that's good too because Jose Ramirez is usually on base. And so pitchers pitch different when runners are on base. They go out of the stretch versus doing out of the windup. So if you are a pitcher and nobody's on base, you lift your leg up all high and you get all the strength you can to throw that ball. But doing all that makes you more susceptible from somebody still in the base. So you go out the stretch. You don't really throw your best stuff. So the dudes that hit in front of and behind your superstar is really where you want them two dudes to produce. And if Franmil Reyes could produce, it ain't no telling what this team could do.
Okay.
And it's like, okay, I've never seen him produce. You know, like I said, the dude looked the part. He about 6'5", probably like about 260. You know what I'm saying? He a big ass dude. He looked like Albert Pujols, but a pudgy Albert Pujols versus / Michelin Man. That's what he looked like. But hey, if he can get into the ball, so I am very excited about the Indians. The Indians' only job to me is to be relevant until football season starts.
Well, and you know what? Because right now, because the Cavs didn't make the playoffs, that's all we got. That's all we got right now as a sports fan here. I mean, don't get me wrong. These playoffs, these NBA playoffs, there should be some pretty good matchups. Something to keep you interested. But outside of that, Cleveland sports, that's all we got right now is the Guardians. You know.
But I'll tell you this though, dog. Speaking of the NBA playoffs, like now, unfortunately we ain't in, but it is going to be a very good playoff. Like, I like Phoenix. I can't wait to see what Ja and them do. Are they for real?
Well, you know,
So,
this is what trips me out though. It's like the playoffs technically haven't started yet, and here we are again where injuries are playing a major role. Like, you know, Luka has that calf strain, which in the past has been associated with Achilles tears. So they're being very careful with him. They've already ruled him out for game 1. He's probably going to be
which
out
is
for
going
game
on right
2.
now. You know the playoffs have started. It's going on right now.
Oh, that's right. The
Playing
game
right now.
started at 1 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
Okay, right. My bad. But
So it's gonna be interesting.
But you know,
so
my point is though, injuries are starting to play a role already as the playoffs just start because Luka's out. Luka's probably gonna miss this series, which means Dallas.
So
is
is that
lose.
your take? That's what I was trying to ask you. So you think Luka is? You think that calf injury is a little more than what we believe, and he might not be in this series?
Right. Because and not that it's a little bit more, but what they've shown, what's been proven, and I think the best example is probably Kevin Durant, is when you have that calf strain, if you don't give it rest, it leads to an Achilles. And I'm sure.
Remember at the beginning of the season, you was telling me about all these calf strains.
Right.
Of
And
football
remember
season?
how last year, that's what Kevin Love had one, and he missed like 40, 50 games with a calf strain. That would say when you have a calf strain, they tend to be very, very cautious with those, and for good reason. So again, I think he's going to be out. Luka's out for the playoffs. I don't think what's my man Clint Capella for Atlanta. I don't think he's going to be back anytime soon. And when I say no time soon, like if they make it to the second round, he may be around for that. But these next couple of games they got, I don't think he's going to be playing. So we gotta see what role injuries continue to play in these playoffs.
So what's interesting about that is I don't think that Atlanta and Dallas were going to make noise. So
Dallas was playing very good basketball. Dallas was actually.
But okay, That's kind of my point. Is I've always felt like Luka is not going to ever make a deep playoff run. I don't think he is. I don't think he is, and the people in Dallas do. So I can just imagine how they acted now.
Jason Kidd's bringing a lot out of Luka because clearly Luka must respect him. Because I don't know if you recall, I always told you I never thought Luka was in top shape. He looks this season to be in a lot better shape, just as far as his conditioning, and he don't just look like somebody's dad out there balling. You know what I'm saying? He looks like he's in better shape than he's ever been in since he's been in the NBA. That's why it's kind of disappointing that he has this injury, because I wanted to see what he could do. Because again, the second half of the season, Dallas was one of the better teams in the NBA.
Yeah, the way I feel about that is when you look at Luka or you look at Joker, I'm going to pick those two dudes out particularly. So in the NBA, you play 82 games in the regular season. So you don't see like a Joker every night. You don't see a Luka every night. So Luka and Joker can come into your gym or y'all play them and you be like, damn, and y'all end up getting beat because you ain't never seen a dude like that to do this. But when you play them in a 7-game series and you can take away, both of them are tremendously slow. So when you can take away those things that those do, like if you play Joker on a Thursday night after you just got finished playing the Cavs and you got to play the Lakers the next night, they can come in and they can end up stealing one from you because you never seen nobody like Joker. But when you play, so I'm going to use Luka. So if you remember last year in the first round, I think the first 3 games, Luka is dead. He's going to be the best player in the NBA and blah, 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 blah. Then by the time, I think they were playing the Clippers. By the time Ty Lue had seen this dude, they wiped Dallas off the court. And to me, that's who Luka and Joker is. They are unicorns, and ain't nobody in the league like them, so you don't see them a lot. But if you see them for 7 games, you can take everything away that they have. So it's something that Luka is hurt because I know that the people in Dallas think that he is in the conversation for best player in the NBA. And I think that there's no way he is. I don't think he's top 10. I don't think he's top 15. I think he's good.
Oh, no, you hating on him. If you don't think Luka's top 15, it's just because you hating on him. If you don't think he's top 15, you hating on him.
Okay. So you telling me that you think that if you look at him, you can't put a defender on him or design a defense that takes away what he do, because what does he do?
He has size.
True.
He can shoot, and he has a very high basketball IQ. And I'm just gonna leave. I'm gonna give you those 3 attributes and just leave it at that.
But he's very slow. He's not fast.
You don't have to be fast, dog. You don't have to be fast. You don't have to be fast. Players tell you that all the time. What did Michael Jordan say? Michael Jordan told you as he got older and he lost his athleticism, he played the game more with his mind.
So, is Luka Doncic the athlete that Michael Jordan was when he played for the Washington Wizards?
I'm not saying he's the athlete I don't know if that compares. That's what 37-year-old Jordan. I don't even know how that compares.
Right.
But I do know this. He plays a high IQ game, and at the end of the day, dog, his game is effective.
Yeah, in the regular season.
Okay.
But not in the playoffs.
Let me tell you something. Jason Kidd was probably the perfect coach for him. Because he's definitely brought some things out of him and taking him to that next level as a player.
But here's the other thing I'm gonna say. This is about to be year 3, and they still ain't made it out the first round. So y'all can tell me, the Luka, this, that, and third. Dude, I mean, don't get me wrong. That's all he needs to do, because Tracy McGrady ain't never making he in the Hall of Fame, which I don't understand.
He won't get out of the first round, because I don't think he's gonna play in this series this year, and they won't get out of this first round without him. Right,
and then next year they're gonna be like, Luka, and I'm gonna be like, bruh, this dude ain't gonna get out the first round. Okay? You gotta be an athlete. He's not an athlete. He's not athletic enough.
Okay. All right, bro. We just gonna have to wait and see on that.
Yep.
So, dog, I guess this is about a wrap.
All right. We talking sports.
Shut it down. We'll do it again next Saturday, team.
Yep.
We talking sports.
Rude.